good, I guess. 10-4? So it's been a little while since we've done a top 5.
I know. When was the last one we did?
I have no idea.
I think Oscar-winning performances.
I'm actually terrible about knowing what we've done, to be honest.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is weird 'cause, again, we record every other week and release every week. So, yeah, it's hard to keep track sometimes. But, yeah, the last one we did was top 5 Oscar-winning performances.
Okay, that makes sense because that would have been following up from, March. That would have been March, yeah. So it's been a little while. We struggled a bit to come up with this topic because
I know.
I think we picked, on our top 5, I think we've picked all the easy fruit on our ideas.
Right, yeah.
And they end up being all of our favorite movies, I think. So we naturally gravitated to those. But we're still going to get to our favorite movies. But do we want to reveal this is the top 5 movie villains?
Yes.
Right? And we are excluding the very obvious ones, which are Star Wars, what else?
Star Wars and comic book movies.
Comic book movies, because that's just too clear.
Yeah, exactly.
Too
I mean,
easy.
obviously, Darth Vader's in there, Heath Ledger's Joker, there might be some other comic book villains in there. And it just gets boring talking about the same movies, hearing people talk about the same movies. So
exactly, and so we did include science fiction and
science
other
fiction,
fantasy, that sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, if anybody has a great idea for a top 5 episode, because it seems that people really like them when we do them, and I like doing them too because it keeps it light. We can cover a lot of ground.
Definitely.
Please just shoot us a DM on Twitter or just an reply or whatever, an email. Just let us know if you have any topic in mind. Throw it over and we'll at least consider it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's all we can do at that point is consider it.
We love fan interaction and suggestions and stuff like that. So
yeah,
absolutely. And that because the last one was Logan was a fan choice, right, from a poll.
We did a poll and Logan was the top in a poll. So yeah, we did Logan. We did again. These are all episodes you can go back to. Logan, Annihilation, which is a gem from this year so far, 2018.
Really
that's a good one to talk about. But yeah, this top 5 villains. Again, it's not going to include comic book movies or Star Wars, but and also we have a separate list that we might eventually do is top 5 comedy villains, villains in a comedy.
Yeah, because Ben's like, well, what about comedies? I'm like, yeah, that's not good. I don't have any. I didn't have any on my list then.
Yeah,
but you were gonna throw one on.
Yeah,
I said, let's save that one maybe for later.
Yeah, exactly.
We're struggling for top 5. We don't want to
exactly.
burn through.
Gotta save whatever we can get.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's good to get out of deep movie analysis because we did, I think, probably 4 or 5 shows at least in a row of movie analysis, right? So, it was since that last top 5.
Yeah.
Which was after the Oscars.
Yeah, I mean, again, we have, this isn't our job. We have regular jobs, and it's hard to, get to these movies that are, especially because we do a lot of deep movies, so it's hard to get yourself to watch it. Especially 2 movies in a week and then record on it, talk about it. So
it can be a bit much when you have other things going on, at work, life, family, all that stuff. But I don't have any of those. All I do is this show. This is my whole life. Yeah,
okay.
So
Sorry.
I have no excuse for. No, just
sorry. I was speaking for Dave there.
No. But yeah, life does tend to get in the way. But but this is we love doing it and we love the show and we love the response we get from you guys.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
It's great.
Again, I'm Ben Secord. That's Davo. This is Blockbuster Mentality.
How you doing?
And that was our little talk before we give our list.
Anything else you want to bring up? The Lightning advanced to the Eastern Conference Finals?
Yes. At the time of this recording, Lightning have advanced to the Eastern Conference Finals. They play tomorrow, which is Friday at 8.
So when this thing comes out, the series might be over?
I mean, yeah. I think by the time this episode comes out, the series could technically be over.
Go Lightning. Hopefully you've won.
Do not come to the show for news.
No.
That's for sure.
I know. That's another thing, too. But, maybe we'll get to that in another show. But just in terms of being topical. But, I think I'm ready to just
let's just get into it. People are like, all right, I clicked on this video or this podcast to hear what your guys' top 5 villains are.
They're
get
waiting
to it already.
with bated breath.
But real quick, let me tell you about this little project I'm doing at my house. Just kidding.
Yeah, how did you unclog that toilet last week?
With a snake. Okay. A snake drain, and it made that noise. Just like that.
Oh, I didn't even know you'd bring a snake in your house. That's kind of weird. You want the kids around?
Yeah. Highly venomous, but it's better than having a clogged toilet.
Clears up the toilet.
The risk of that is better than having a clogged toilet. Okay. I feel like I always start the top 5. Yeah. So why don't you go ahead and start?
I would love to start the top 5 non-Star Wars, non-comic book villains. This is a
Non-comedies.
non-comedies. Yeah, this word.
We're really getting specific here.
But I think we're both going to come up with good lists. I'm feeling pretty good about mine. I don't think I have any huge surprises. Do you have any obscure ones?
No, I think mine are. I mean, obviously we didn't do comic book movies and Star Wars to try to stay away from the cliches. But a couple of mine might be a little cliche. But
yeah,
I went true. I went with my favorites and
same with me.
True. I went true with it.
I did.
Ernest Hemingway would say.
We stayed true to ourselves.
Yep.
I think I came to this list very quickly after that criteria. I just bang, 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 bang. So I will lead off with a character that I really despise, but it's such a great performance. It's Hannibal Lecter. Is he on your list?
Yep.
No?
Yes, he is on my list.
Okay.
Yep. And so I mean, it's only 5. So yeah, he's at my number 3.
Okay. You want to talk now?
Yeah, we'll talk about it now.
He's the guy. He just makes me angry.
Yeah.
He makes my skin crawl. He irritates me. I feel like if I saw this man in real life, he would just see right through me.
Right.
Just like what he did to Clarice, right? He knows all your faults. He knows everything about you. He can sum you up within 5 minutes. He's can smell you.
Yeah, smelling you, telling you that you're, one generation from poor white trash. And he's like got her to a T. Yeah, he's a lot of this. To prepare for this show, I watched some clips just to remind myself, and I noticed that a lot of this has to do with the filmmaking. Obviously, Anthony Hopkins is great, but just the way they have the camera right in front of him when he's talking and he's just staring right at the camera, and his eyes are just like almost lifeless. It's just incredible filmmaking there, but yeah, I mean that's the thing about this list. I mean, to make a great villain, I don't think you should like them. I mean, a lot of these guys, especially my number 5, which we'll get to in a minute. I mean, they're just disgusting human beings. Obviously, this is a cannibal we're talking about. But I have, I think I have one, if maybe 2 on my list that I have some sympathy for and some admiration for. This guy, I want him cut up into little pieces and burned. He needs to be put down like a wild animal he's not really a wild animal, but he needs to be put down like a wild animal. But that's the thing, though. I mean, he is another aspect of the filmmaking is how they make him seem animal-like.
Yeah.
In the cage and the way he's like sniffing and smelling her.
Crazy.
And but yeah, you're right. He's despisable.
What about that scene? So there's 3 movies, right? This Red Dragon and
Hannibal.
Hannibal, yeah. I don't know which one of the one he's eating the brain for Ray Liotta.
That's Hannibal. Okay. Yep.
No, in that movie he goes a little bit.
Yeah, that movie. Yeah, I mean it's nowhere near this performance, but Hannibal is actually not that bad. I mean it's definitely suspenseful.
Gary Oldman in that one?
Yeah, his face is like all deformed.
Yeah. How about that scene where he's recalling what happened to him, and somehow I guess he was on drugs, but just by the power of suggestion, he hands him a knife and he cuts off his own face.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah. To have that,
how terrifying is that?
Yeah, it's. I'm scared. I'm scared right now. I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight.
Yeah, the guy is just. It's an amazing performance and just a terrifying villain.
Yeah, I mean, again, he's my number 3 on the list. So yeah, I mean that definitely has me interested to see what your other 4 will be if that's at your number 5.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean he's one of the most iconic villains that isn't Darth Vader. I think that's out there. I mean, but
hard to do this list without putting him in it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean and to do what he did, he won an Oscar. I think it was like 13 minutes of screen time.
He's barely in the movie.
Yeah,
dominates.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know.
For him to have that lasting impact on it. Is just speaks to the performance and the filmmaking of his scenes. It's just incredible how, how it resonates with you.
I mean, the movie is really more about catching this other guy.
This Buffalo Bill.
Yeah, Buffalo Bill. Yep. That's the main purpose of the movie. And you're just getting some sort of consultation.
Yeah,
with
he's just there.
He takes over the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, I mean, you cannot have a list, I don't think, of villains without Mr. Hannibal Lecter, that's for sure.
Yeah. What do you got for number 5?
My number 5, I think, is in a way more despisable than Hannibal Lecter.
Oh, wow.
I'm just going to get to it. I'm just going to say it, Dave.
I'm just
going to get to it. My number 5 is Frank Booth from Blue Velvet. I think 1985, 1986 from David Lynch.
So that's why you texted me earlier today if I had seen that movie.
Yes, exactly. A little spoiler alert for you there. Dennis Hopper as Frank Booth. This is a movie I've seen one time. one time, and the impact he has had on me, just the lasting effect that I remember of his performance as Frank Booth is the reason he's on this list, is just because he just comes off the screen and just, he's disgusting. I don't even know how to describe, he's a crazy violent man, a rapist,
maniac, right?
a maniac.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He does despicable things on screen. He makes you feel uncomfortable watching it.
Got that
That oxygen mask, when he's about to do really bad things, he's sucking in this oxygen mask.
Yeah.
And Dennis Hopper he's got to have a little I think it's a well-known thing that he's a little crazy, but
Yeah,
for him to be able to
now?
Yeah, exactly. For him to be able to pull off this role and for it to be believable, it makes me question just what his morals are and what he would actually be willing to do in real life. But yeah, he just
Here we are. Dennis Hopper, you have now come under suspicion based on your ability to play these people.
Exactly. But yeah, just call. Again, to have seen I never want to watch this movie again. It made me feel so uncomfortable.
I think that's pretty much what happened to me. I think I watched it when I was 15, 16, and I never went back to it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just too uncomfortable. I mean, it's just because even the overall movie is forgettable. It's just his scene. There's some of the dialogue is just silly. It's got Kyle MacLachlan, yeah, young Laura Dern.
Okay, yeah, and
Isabella
Rossellini.
Yeah, Rossellini. Yep.
She's naked half the movie. Right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Is the what's his name, Frank
Booth?
Does he have some sort of is he impotent or something like that? Does he have some kind of sexual problem or?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's.
But I forget what the details are. He has a hard time getting it up, right? Or he needs to be violent to do it, or.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely gets off on being violent and everything. I don't know if he needs to do that, but yeah,
it's very twisted.
Yeah, it's so weird. I mean, I think only David Lynch could make this movie. It's just so weird.
That reminds me. Did you see the new season of Twin Peaks?
No, I haven't.
Honestly, I saw 3 episodes and I didn't go. That's another one where I don't really want to see it.
I've never seen the first.
They're
original
really
Twin
good.
Peaks. Yeah, it's one of those that I've always meant to get around to, but
I think you'd like it a lot. They're on Netflix.
Yeah.
This latest season has been difficult for me. I really do want to finish it, but it's almost been too much.
Yeah.
So Lynch can do that.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure.
He's an interesting one. But yeah, Dennis Hopper is Frank Booth. Just for him to have this effect on me after just seeing the movie once years ago.
Yeah. I think that's fantastic.
I had to put him on the list.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's my number 5.
Good stuff. My number 4 is a character you are unfamiliar with. He's from The Lord of the Rings, Sauron.
Okay.
And
yes, I'm unfamiliar, so yeah, I can't really speak of it. Is he the Eye?
This guy.
Who's the Eye?
Yes, that's him. That's him as in a non-physical form.
Okay, so who is he as the physical form?
You want to talk?
Sorry.
Talk
yeah, let's
stuff?
do it. Let's do it.
He's one of the original creatures when the Earth was made.
Is he in that beginning scene of Fellowship of the Ring where he gets his ring?
That's him. That was him
off?
when as physical form. When he got it cut off, he was he died, but then reformed as this thing, as an eye that was a manifestation of his power.
Yeah.
He still had power. And what's cool about him is he's a villain that's not in physical form.
Yeah.
It's so cool. He has this, his way of dominating the world is through fear and sapping your will and making you scared and making you despair about your ability to fight for you and your people and what's right. So I love that. It's more of he's a villain of the mind.
Yeah. So he's not in physical form at all other than that beginning scene?
No, and that's even a flashback. So in the movies, he's never physical. Yeah. And the ring is a manifestation of his power, which is always calling back to him, which Frodo's wearing. So it's a part of him. So he'll suck you into this world where you want to surrender to.
So
him.
when you only get his effects when you're actually wearing the ring?
Oh no, you get it. I mean, he's affecting the whole world.
Oh, okay.
Because he's driving orcs and stuff to conquer and kill people. But
how do we learn this through Count Dooku's character? What's his name?
Saruman.
Yeah. What the hell is the actor's name? Christopher Lee. Yeah.
No, I think you kind of get it through what else is going on. But Sauron basically puts a blight on the entire world.
Yeah.
He helps create these orcs and stuff and dominates them with his mind when people serve him.
Right.
They have that same through fear. Basically, he
Okay.
motivates whole armies of disgusting creatures to kill in his name.
Yeah.
So it's. I love it. I mean, it's a massive, beautiful
And like
world.
people like worship him and stuff. And
Well, the bad guys do. Just the bad guys. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's essentially pretty. I'm gonna call it simplistic, but you basically have humans on one side, and then there's orcs and goblins and other creatures made that are bad. I mean, it's pretty clear who the good guys and the bad guys are, but it's more than just the good guys wearing white and the bad guys wearing black sort of thing.
Okay.
It's more about like finding your courage and like not despairing
Yeah.
and like holding out for something greater than yourself. But he challenges every character in this story to do that, to rise up and be courageous. And that's hard for anybody to do, especially when you're terrified out of your mind that you're going to die. Not only are you going to die, you're going to die at the hands of these awful creatures that just want to rip you out. They're mindless, that sort of thing.
Is he Mordor? Is he on?
Yeah, he lives in Mordor. He's centered in Mordor. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there's a whole mythology about Lord of the Rings and how he came to be. He's got a Melkor was his guy, anyways. But and Gandalf doesn't. Well, yeah. So Sauron number 4.
And he calls me the nerd.
This guy.
Just no. I mean, you definitely have me intrigued to want to see these. I will get around to watching them. We will do shows on them eventually. We're gonna do the special edition Twin Towers for 5 hours. All right, 5-part series that's gonna take us 6 months to do, but you guys will soak up every minute of it.
One day.
I think actually, like getting into Game of Thrones not too long ago, I think definitely has me interested in this because it's I know it's not the same thing, but it's that kind of fantasy and
George R.R. Martin wrote Game of Thrones in effect as a answer to the Lord of the Rings mythology. In some ways, he does more politics, more different stuff about how it's not as clean cut. He tries to do, who's good or bad, that question.
Right.
The Lord of the Rings, it's clear who's bad.
Right.
But it doesn't make the problem any easier for the good guys.
Sure.
Because you still have to do what's right. You still have to fight for your people and yourself. And that's not always the easiest thing to do. Sometimes it's easier to just give up.
Okay.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's very different. It's similar but different.
Yeah.
But they're both complementary. I like them both. I enjoy them both. Actually, I will say the Lord of the Rings universe and J.R.R. Tolkien is a far better writer than George Martin.
Yeah.
So, but I'll just say that. But Peter Jackson, we're just talking about the books here. Peter Jackson, wow. That's why I give him. Yeah. He's got you haven't seen it, but he has like, I don't know what you call it, amnesty, or he's done enough for me with those movies where I don't. He can put a piece of poop on film, and I'll be like, all right, well, it's Peter Jackson. At least I'll watch it, even though I know it's poop. I'll watch that steaming pile for 2 hours.
Obviously you like the Lord of the Rings trilogy, but the Hobbit trilogy, are you as big of a fan as you are? As an honest movie critic, the answer is they are not near the level of the Lord of the Rings films. However, since I love the universe, I'm glad to go in it for 2.5, 3 hours. Sure.
So that's how I view it.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's
kind of like the Star Wars films, like, Last Jedi, the more I think about it, I know we talked about this off the show, the less I like it. Yeah. I probably do need to watch it again, but it's still Star Wars. I'm still happy. Even the prequels, like I'm still happy to dive in that world. And
that's exactly how I feel. That's how I view the prequels. Would be probably the closest comparison. Yeah. But I love the universe. And also you get stuff, The Hobbit book by itself was only a couple hundred pages. It wasn't very big.
And to split it in 3 movies, that's all money, right?
Well, yes, it's all money, definitely. Yeah. But they're including materials here. I'm just like going on.
No, it's all right. I mean, it's interesting. I mean,
when you get into the literary aspect of this, there's a whole like encyclopedias, there's whole languages, there's a whole
So he like goes in more depth than George R.R. Martin
there
does.
There are past stories, and some of them actually are going to use that material for the basis of this upcoming Amazon show that we've heard about. Yeah. Which is going to have a bigger budget than Game of Thrones, apparently.
Wow. Do we know what time frame it's taking place in?
I think it's probably before the movies, I think. Okay. So it's ancient stuff. There's like a whole wealth of material going back before just those 3 books. So
speaking of which, I mean, this is again off topic, but I want like I don't know what's happening with they announced those like prequel shows to Game of Thrones, or just they announced like other shows to Game of Thrones. They still haven't given us details about. And
Yeah,
also,
I don't know anything about that. It sure would be nice if instead of George Martin worrying about all this stuff, he would just finish writing the sixth book,
right, write it,
which he just announced that it won't be ready in time for the next season. I believe he announced that. So it's like, dude. I mean, at this point, I'm like, don't finish it. Just admit defeat.
Because you read the books?
I've read all 5, yeah. And they've had, I guess since the first book, they've had. The third book was maybe the best, but it's been going downhill since.
Okay.
Just like honestly, and if you watch the TV series, if they hadn't moved on and started piecing in things that haven't even been written yet, the TV series, I believe, has also suffered a bit.
Okay.
Quality wise.
I mean, this last season, it was rushed, and there's still epic moments and great. It's still great,
The reason for that is because the first season almost exactly followed the first book.
Right, yeah.
And the second season was pretty close.
Yeah, isn't it like the first 4 seasons are pretty much like the first 4 books?
It starts piecing things in and out. The fourth book is a cluster bang. It's all over the place. And so you start, as it goes farther, the show starts, you imagine these two things together, it slowly starts diverging. And then once the show starts changing things, it starts creating its own universe.
Yeah.
So now it's completely its own thing, nearly. Other than
because doesn't like Catelyn come back and like
in the books, she's like a zombie.
So is the 5th book just terrible, or is it?
It spends a lot of time with Dany on the other continent. Ugh. And then
some of my least favorite parts of the show.
Yeah, the detailed politics of this place.
Yeah. And
that's like almost half the book. This is a place that she's leaving.
Yeah.
This doesn't matter.
Right.
And yet you're still staying here because the author hasn't figured out a way to have her over there and have these characters do what they need to do and have them all come together and to fit his story. He doesn't know how to get it to work.
He's just stalling.
Yeah.
Let's see what the show does and see if I could get any ideas from them.
Maybe they'll come up with something. That's the biggest problem. I think he admitted this as well, is he has no idea he's got an idea of an end and he's got no idea how to get the characters time-wise to do it.
I have Game of Thrones Risk.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, let's play on the show sometime.
We'll take turns as we go.
Yeah, for sure.
But I spent a lot of time on my number 4. We are burning time here. So what do you got for your number 4?
My number 4 is... my number 4 is... it's one of my movies that I've loved forever. I've had it in my top 10 list of movies of all time since I was a teenager. Now that I've gotten older, it probably wouldn't be in my top 10 anymore. But anyways, it's still a beloved film for me, as Usual Suspects.
Oh, wow.
And that would be Verbal Kint / Kaiser Soze.
The Kaiser Soze.
Yep.
Nice.
Kevin Spacey, obviously.
You're not supposed to mention that name anymore.
I know.
He's dead now, right? Didn't he die?
Yeah, he is, yes.
He was killed and buried.
The Kevin Spacey we knew and loved is dead, yes.
That's a great call.
He betrayed and murdered your father. But so from a certain point of view. Anyways, Verbal Kint. I mean, no, we're going. So we promised no Star Wars in this episode, but all right. So my number 4, again, Darth Vader, is the best villain ever. Verbal Kint, again. Kevin Spacey, I mean, whatever.
Brilliant.
He did what he did, but he is an incredible actor, you know?
Amazing.
I mean, he is just...
He dominated the 90s.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think in our top 5 90s, he was in like 3 of my movies or something.
Yeah, because I had 7.
Yeah, we had Usual Suspects, American Beauty.
And he would have made a good runner, at least a runner-up as a villain in 7.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I was looking at lists, preparing for the show, and he was in a bunch of them as John Doe in 7. But Verbal Kint,
great
just
call.
This calmness about him and just the way he's delivering his lines, and he's this...
you got Chaz Palminteri. And the nice dynamic there, because he's not giving up anything.
Right.
He's great.
I think
playing dumb and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think this movie got more of a bump up just because of that huge twist. It's like one of the biggest twists in movie history. So I think that kind of clouded the whole movie, just because it's like, oh wow, what a twist. But when I look back on the movie, it's not as great as I remember, but it's still really good.
I haven't seen this one in a while.
Yeah, but yeah, just Kevin Spacey's Verbal Kint, just doing his thing with
awesome.
Chaz, and He's basically in the interrogation room the whole movie.
Yeah.
Not room, but like in the office
Yeah,
of
yeah,
the
yeah.
officer. But
That was like the height of Charles Palminteri's powers, probably
Yeah.
too, right? And probably the height of Kevin Spacey's powers.
No, definitely. And there's just such great lines he delivers. Like he was one of my favorite lines in a movie. The greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world he didn't exist.
Spoiler.
Yep. Spoiler alert. But yeah, I mean, there's, I don't know what else to say about it. His
I think
performance
it's
is
great.
great. Just love how he's, seems so innocent, but he's not. And then when you look back and see what he was saying that whole time,
Innocent,
how it
stupid,
ties in, and
with a limp, all of it, right?
Exactly, and just such an epic ending, epic twist. Don't want to ruin it for anyone who hasn't seen it. Spoiler alert from 1995.
I think we ruined it. But
Yeah, Kevin Spacey's the bad guy, and he's not a crippled. Okay,
he's Kaiser Soze.
he's Kaiser Soze, exactly. But yeah,
Great
just
stuff.
movie I've loved for years, and yeah, he's always stuck out to me.
Perfect. I guess I'm on number 3.
Yeah, I had to cut for time due to his Lord of the Rings spiel.
I do apologize for that. Number 3, I'm going sci-fi. It's The Alien.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that was definitely in my list, in my running.
I love The Alien.
Honorable mention.
In the worst way, I love this creature. It's terrifying. It's unstoppable. It moves so much of a plot just by existing. I mean, that creature can work in any movie. I mean, I'm saying, like, you can make an Alien movie and just have it, and you'll at least get enough of it,
Right.
where it's terrifying and scary.
Such a cool design too.
It's
Like,
beautiful.
just,
Yeah, and you get the original movie, which you just watched recently, right, for the first time?
I mean, that was like the 8th time I seen it. Yes, I finally watched Aliens, folks. Or Alien.
Alien.
Yes.
That's a beautiful, haunting,
Yeah.
just a masterpiece by Ridley Scott. But then you get with that creature, you get the deeper stuff like we saw in Prometheus and Alien Covenant, which I like. Have you gotten to that one?
Yeah, not yet. Yep, still got to
Prometheus
get to
either?
it.
No? Okay. Neither one?
Nope.
Okay. I'm not trying to embarrass you here.
No, I haven't. Yeah.
Okay. It's
Well, a lot of the thoughts, like I know you had talked about with Alien Covenant and Prometheus, the robot guy. He ended up being a robot in
Right.
Alien.
David.
Definitely reminded me of Blade Runner a lot too, which I dug.
Right. All that Ridley Scott
yeah.
connection between the created and the creator.
Right,
and
exactly.
rebelling against that, all that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's always in my thoughts. I love it. I love it. I just love the Alien. I actually don't have really much more to say to that. If you don't like the Alien, then I got a real problem
it's just
with you.
it's so again, the design of it is a big effect,
It's a thing that goes in your mouth
Yeah.
and strangles you.
Yeah.
And then impregnates itself inside of you and then bursts your chest with its offspring.
See, there you go.
It's the most
And you were about to stop talking. Keep going.
It's the most horrific thing
Yeah.
that can happen to you, right? I mean,
Right.
can you imagine a worse
Like
death?
it's staying there like sterile or stagnant forever
Right.
in this cave
A
of
little
a planet,
puff.
and then just finally I have a host to suck onto, or what do they call face huggers or
Yeah.
something? Yeah, face huggers.
It's disgusting. It's just a horrific creature.
Yeah,
that
and then
just,
pops out of his chest, and
you try to kill it and it bleeds and then the blood burns through your ship.
yep, it's acid.
What the heck? So yeah, and then we saw Spider-Man figures. He referenced the
Spoiler
aliens.
alert.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
and
been a few
Infinity
weeks.
War.
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah,
it's
that
just
was a
telling
cool
it
reference,
To
yeah.
eject it,
Right.
Send it into the void of space,
Exactly.
and maybe it will die.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, I mean, I finally watched it, so it's definitely got me excited to watch the others. See what happened in this universe.
Yeah.
I'm many years behind, but hey, I'm catching up. So yeah, I mean, that's a great
That's
choice.
okay.
I mean, you got to go with that choice. Do you also have the shark and Jaws in your list?
I do not. Do you?
No.
How do you not? Do you have keys?
No, I do not have keys. Because
you
he's
too.
not really a villain, he's just doing his job, He's wanted to see the alien his whole life since he was a kid.
Okay.
He talks E.T. We have to do E.T. one of these
I know
days.
we definitely So definitely. So I just want to make sure though, because I don't want to make sure little Ben was scared by keys when he was a kid and it traumatized him or anything like that. Okay.
But
no.
Alien's a great choice.
Thank you.
Alien's a great choice.
You've done your number 3, right? What
Yep,
was,
my number 3 was Hannibal Lecter.
All right, what do you got for number 2?
Oh, it's jumping back to me. All right. Fine. I guess we'll go that way. My number 2.
Or do you want me to give my number 3? No, I just did. You want me to give my number 2?
Yeah, give me your number 2.
All right, my number 2 is Tommy DeVito from Goodfellas.
I mean,
Now, I don't
great
know,
character.
I don't know if you'd call him a villain,
Yeah,
but I
that-
think he's villainous enough as a human being.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna, say no, rules is rules, but
I
to
waffled on
me,
this one.
all the guys in the movie are technically bad guys. It's just there's no clear good guy, bad guy in the whole movie. They're all just bad guys. Same with Godfather.
Yeah, he's not like a villain. Well, I guess I
Right.
can understand he's not like a villain opposing a good guy.
Right.
So maybe that was not the best choice. Though,
No, I mean it's fine. No, I mean was when I was looking it up, like he was in a bunch of lists.
He's just such a crazy. I mean, he's almost crazier than Hannibal Lecter in a certain way.
He was in Joe Pesci. That was my number one Oscar performance of all time.
Because he won the Oscar for that. Yeah,
I can't hate. I mean, yeah.
But I guess as a clear-cut villain, maybe not, because he's not a villain to someone else.
Right.
Yeah. But just to watch this guy just be a bad person.
Right.
It was just, he's a villain to the world rather than a character. The man is he's a wrecking ball. Anything that comes near him, he will kill it. You have to submit to him,
right,
or you will die.
Yeah.
Is basically the attitude here. Unless you're somehow cool with him, and then maybe he won't kill you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like
so.
The
Yeah,
best
he's a villain to what's his face, who he shot right in the chest for saying "go f himself."
Christopher from what's
Sopranos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
go f yourself.
Yeah.
That's a great scene. But he's just terrible with everybody. He's beating people up with phones. He's just terrible. He's just an awful psychopath. I mean, that scene, my Clown, I amuse you, in case anybody heard about that.
I'm not familiar. Not familiar with
That's
that
Ray
scene.
Liotta. Ray Liotta was crapping his pants.
Yeah, I know. That's yeah, that was an intense scene. But yeah, can't hate you on that. Again, just I don't classify it as a villain.
Yeah.
But again, the performance alone, again, like you said, he's a villain to the world. He's a villain. He's a terrible person. So
now that we've said that, I might not put that on my list, but it's done. So that was my number 2.
It's over, guys. It's over. All right. So now number 2.
I hate to keep asking you to give you number 2, but
no. So what's your number 1? No, I'm just trying to figure out what your number 1 could be. So you probably don't have either of my top 2. My number 2 is Anton Chigurh from No Country for Old Men.
This was an honorable mention for me.
Javier Bardem, chilling performance in the Coen Brothers 2007 film that won Best Picture.
And we talked about him a little bit in one episode, if I could.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, just such just so deadpan, but just menacing and just
he's death personified.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Like he's just walking around looking for his next victim in essence. Obviously he has a mission to, get this stolen money. That's what he does, but he also has this code to him where anyone could die at any time due to his little games he plays, especially that
flipping a coin.
The gas station clerk. Yeah. That scene.
That
my
guy was
God.
Terrified.
That tension in that scene is just, it rivals my number 1, which we will get to, Dave.
And then his the cattle prod air gun.
Yes,
thing.
Exactly. Yeah,
the
weapon of choice for this villain is even just, just saying what his weapon is alone tells you how crazy this villain is.
Yeah. Well, now, my turn now is to say, here's another bad guy in a bad world. I mean, there aren't really any good people in this movie either. Just to throw something back in your face.
But
the Josh Brolin character isn't a good guy either, really.
Tommy Lee Jones is the sheriff.
Yeah.
Searching for him.
That's true. So Tommy Lee Jones, yeah.
Yeah, I think Tommy Lee Jones is
more
the
of a perspective character,
polar opposite.
Though.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
He's not directly fighting him.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true as well.
So I just want to throw a little urinate into your milk.
Okay,
or whatever.
we're neutralized now.
But, no, absolutely, it's a brilliant call. He is another one. He's like sort of like the Tommy character though. He's a villain to the world.
Right.
Anyone in his path. It's random.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Obviously he kills the people who are right in his way.
Right.
But,
anyone else is also fair game.
Especially Josh Brolin's wife. He flips just
terrible, just horrific.
Yeah. Walks out of the house after that. We don't see anything. Just looks at his shoes, makes sure they're clean, and just walks away.
I need to see that movie again. Now.
Yeah,
I want to go into.
Yeah,
it again.
it's chilling. But
Great call.
That's why it goes back and forth with me for 2007 best movies of 2007. There will be blood and No Country for Old Men. Like they flip flop for me a lot. Yeah. But Javier Bardem won an Oscar for it. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
great stuff. I don't think you're gonna have my number 1.
Probably not.
I have Roy Batty from Blade Runner.
Really?
He's my number 1 villain. I love this character so much. He's a bad guy that I fell in love with. He's smart, strong, destructive, but he has like a real drive. I mean, he's an android who's trying to get more life, and I was just totally struck by this character. The more I watch that movie, the more I love him as a bad guy, and almost like maybe he's not a bad guy, but he is though. I mean, in the context of the movie, you have to really think through it and say he's not a villain. But the story is he's the bad guy. He's going around killing everyone, and he's to be stopped. Deckard has to try to kill him, stop him, but he really can't.
Yeah.
But I just love the character. He's just, it's that same thing that we talked about with Ridley Scott with Alien, and the idea of, this is what started it really, when he goes and meets Tyrell and he's like, I want more life. Well, don't we all? And he kills him, right?
Yeah.
He just...
Yeah, that scene, man. Yeah, that's crazy.
But,
go ahead. I think I need to see this movie a few more. I love this movie and I love the Blade Runner franchise. It's just not a movie I've continued to watch over and over or anything. I
think this may be a bolder choice for number one, but I really love this character.
It's definitely bold.
He's my favorite bad guy. So in that sense, top five, since he's my favorite bad guy, then that's going to be the top of my list.
Yeah.
It's not like the worst. That's why I guess.
Yeah, your favorite bad guy.
Yeah, that's why I have Lecter at the bottom, is because he's great and he's effective, but I don't like him. Right,
exactly. Similar for me with Frank Booth, yeah.
Yeah, I get a little redemption with Roy Batty, which makes him, to me, almost a perfect villain.
Yeah, the motivation he has, it's understandable.
You can relate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, that's always the problem with a villain. If he's just pure evil, then that's not all that interesting either. It's no better than a good guy with no flaws.
I love the Blade Runner universe now. Like, I'm so glad that 2049 came out and it was also good. Just how, like, I still need to. I've watched like part of the beginning on Blu-ray again, but it's just I need to really sit down and watch it again, because that movie I still think about. I still think about that. I still think about the original,
I know,
especially after we did the show on it.
Yeah.
It's just, these movies are
they're beautiful.
Yeah,
the universe is it's a bad universe. It's depressing, but it's one that just sucks you in.
Yeah, I mean, it's just.
They have that Netflix show, Altered Carbon, which I think is almost like a ripoff of Blade Runner with its own spin. I don't know if you try watching that. I try watching it, and it's not giving me what I want out of it.
Yeah.
I want more Blade Runner. I want a Blade Runner TV show.
Right, yeah, that would be cool. A Netflix series on Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Run by Denis Villeneuve.
Yes, please.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I love Roy Batty. He's my favorite villain.
I can't hate that at all. I mean, that's... Again, bold choice, but good.
That's all I have to say about it, because I think I've said so much about Blade Runner over the episodes.
Yeah.
So
I think we should do a deep analysis on 2049 eventually.
Yeah, because we just do like a reaction show or something.
Well, yeah, we did just a movie review on Blade Runner of 2049, but we didn't get into it. We got into the first one, the original.
We still probably went on for an hour though, even.
Oh, absolutely.
Even off the top of our heads.
Don't doubt us. We thought this show was going to be 30 minutes, and we're almost approaching 40.
I hope you all appreciate the length.
My number one. I think I don't know. I guess I might just love this movie more than a lot of other people and just appreciate it more. But what do you think it is?
Don't ask me that. Are you crazy? I got no freaking idea what you have. I'm not gonna guess.
Man, all right, that's fine.
What do you got?
My number one is from 2009.
Okay,
it is Christoph Waltz.
Oh, okay.
As Hans Landa in Inglourious Bastards.
That's a good one.
The Jew Hunter.
I'm so happy.
Just
to do
so
it.
Charismatic. He's so charismatic. The opening scene of this movie sells me right away. You don't know, the rest of the movie could be crap, but this scene alone is just incredible. Interrogating this French farmer,
tension, right?
Who supposedly is hiding Jews in his house,
right.
But Hans Landa's making him seem like he's his friend. He's asking for milk. He's drinking a glass of milk because it's a dairy farm, and the French farmer pulls out a little pipe, and Hans Landa then pulls out a huge pipe, being charismatic. He's like, mine's bigger than yours. It's, and that's actually how Quentin Tarantino even described it.
He's always just doing smiling,
he's doing
very courteous.
Yeah, he's doing these little things that just is just incredible. And then just little tiny switch in his facial expressions. You're like, oh damn, this guy means business. You know, he's just like, you're hiding Jews, aren't you? You know, it's just like how Quentin Tarantino was able to find this guy, this Christoph Waltz, is just
doesn't seem to be very good at anything else besides
this
Tarantino
and Django.
movies. Yeah. I know. I'm saying like
Tarantino movies. Yeah, exactly.
They somehow like matched these two, right?
Yeah.
Tarantino saw quality in this guy.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, this is gonna be amazing.
Yeah, he's been in 2 Tarantino movies and has 2 Oscars from those Tarantino movies. So, but yeah, Hans Landa.
Great call.
I mean,
this is an honorable mention for me. So.
Yeah, I mean, he's just so charismatic, but yet so menacing at the same time.
Yeah.
It's almost hard to hate him, just how charismatic he is. You know, obviously not his morals or, you know, how he treats Jews. But, you know, it's just, again, it's just...
I mean, a guy you hate, but you can't help like, really.
Right.
I hate to say it. I don't know if you were almost walking the line of saying it, but like you do kind of like the guy. It's like
kind of want to have a pretzel with him.
he's doing terrible things, but you're like he said the charisma.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
You're not rooting for him per se, but you're like, I don't know.
It's similar to like even Verbal Kint. I'm trying to think who else, but he never. I don't think. Oh, I guess at the end he does, but you're scared of him most of the movie, and he doesn't do any act of violence. You're scared of him just through the way he talks and the way he interrogates,
like presence and everything.
Yeah, exactly. It's
That's
just
great.
like that. Those are the great villains who can just do something without, you know, doing anything.
Absolutely. No, that's perfect stuff. Yeah, I mean that, like I said, that made my honorable mention. So that's an amazing call. Great stuff.
Thank you.
The other one I'm surprised that made my honorable mention that didn't make your list, or I don't know if you have honorables or not, but there's no Nurse Ratched.
Yeah, she's definitely on my honorables there.
Okay.
Norman Bates from Psycho. Yeah, Nurse Ratched. I don't know. I just we've talked about her. We talked about her in the Oscar performances, and then we talked about her in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Trying to seem Eternal Leaf here. Or,
yeah, exactly. You know,
you got a long list of honorables here. Go ahead and.
No, I don't want to. No, I mean a lot of them are what I already had.
Oh, okay.
Well, a couple of them are comedies, so I don't want to say it yet for our show.
Okay, I apologize for looking at your notes.
Scar from Lion King.
My wife suggested that one, and I looked at her like she was.
Well, you know, who's the idiot?
Yeah, me or the movie.
And then the Warden from Shawshank Redemption.
Oh yeah.
He never had really a shot, but I have him written down.
Yeah,
again,
worth putting out there.
Again, Norman Bates from Psycho, Hitchcock movie.
That's one of my.
Have you ever heard of it?
No, I've not heard of it, but it's actually one of my least favorite Hitchcock movies.
Really?
Yeah, I don't really like it that much.
Well, there you go.
I hate to say,
Dave does not like 1960s Psycho from Alfred Hitchcock.
I like Hitchcock, and I like to do more. I mean, we've only done Vertigo, right? I believe.
Yeah, Vertigo. Yep. That's our only one.
But we should do more. I don't want to do Psycho. I think that movie's a little bit overrated.
No, there's really not much to analyze in it.
He's just a weirdo.
Yeah.
So.
But so real quick, give your 5 through 1.
Yeah, I have number 5, Hannibal Lecter. Number 4, Sauron. Number 3, Alien. Number 2, Tommy DeVito, which been disputed. And number 1 is Roy Batty.
My number 5, Frank Booth. Number 4, Verbal Kint / Kaiser Soze. Number 3, Hannibal Lecter. Number 2, Anton Chigurh. And number 1, Hans Landa. So our only similar one was Hannibal Lecter, right?
Yeah, the only one. That's good. Yeah. Well, because I think we kind of think of each other now when we're making these lists.
Yeah.
We want to. I think the first list was almost the same. So we're trying to be, our own person.
Yeah.
Here,
we want to be separate.
Yeah.
You guys obviously know that mine's the right list.
I am not
and
like
his is
Ben.
The correct one.
I am able to make my own choices.
Yeah. What would Michael Brennan say?
He would say, I don't know. We haven't heard from him. I
know.
Brennan. We had that rocket accident.
Yeah, that's true.
Should we have him on one day?
Yeah, we should definitely call him again.
I wonder if the audience found him funny, but
we'll see. Let us know,
if
guys.
you found Michael Brennan funny, if you know who Michael Brennan was and found him funny, please let me know.
Yes, at Blockbuster Cast is our show's Twitter. You can follow me at BCcord.
And you can follow me at Dave_Coolist.
And be sure to subscribe to us on iTunes. Leave us reviews.
Yes,
We'd
please.
really appreciate that. Become a patron on Patreon.
We would love it. It will
Support
help
the
our
show.
T-shirt budget.
Give us some donations,
Hey.
for T-shirts.
We're doing it for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And subscribe to us on YouTube, like our videos.
I have a Catalina wine mixer.
Catalina Wine Mixer. Don't don't hassle me. I'm local.
You had to look at the camera to know what his shirt says.
I hate this guy right here.
So unclear here.
Do you have anything else to say to the audience, Dave?
I got nothing other than I have the best list.
Tight. All right, folks. Well, that is it for us. I'm Ben Secord, who had the best list.
I already said that.
For Davo. I'm Ben Secord, who had the best list.
That is Ben Secord.
Did I say that?
That's Ben Secord over there.
Oh, that's Davo.
How you doing?
All right, folks. Well, hey, why don't you just go ahead and grab some popcorn, grab some snacks, and we'll catch you guys
At the movies.